the computer. Yeah, so hello again and welcome. Let's start our session for the funding donor prospecting as part of the proposal writing training. As you all know that the NGO life cycle starts usually with the strategy. The strategy could be just like a thought or the thinking of the founders and the leadership of the NGO, or could be a written document. Then the strategy needs funding, so there should be donor search for funding. After we find the donor and then we get the funding, we go for sure for the proposal writing, we get the funding, then we start the project management, we do monitoring and reporting, we keep learning, and then we change or improve the strategy, then we keep search for new donors, and we keep like the same cycle every day. That's the life cycle of the NGO leaders and the NGO staff and professionals. That's our life every day. I'll start by asking, have you ever built a pyramid? What I mean by this question is that I want to draw your attention that the pyramids is something we need to consider and think about. They have been built like 5,000 years ago. Still, they are the same. No one has ever tried to destroy the pyramid. Why does this I mean, why or how this is happening, or how could this happen as a big building like the pyramid in this shape, and still it's available the same shape and the same way it was built for 5,000 years ago? And when I say have you ever built a pyramid, it means that have you ever contributed to build anything? How can you make this thing as a pyramid? After 5 years or more of thinking on how to build a pyramid, like the funding pyramid, what we have been learning is that any NGO is going through 5 levels. So every NGO goes on 5 levels. If the NGO or the organization, the company or a project is starting, usually it's just heroic. Like the leaders, they think they are heroes while they just start, so they didn't achieve anything at this level, but still they feel they are heroes. The most difficult part they face is that the applicability, because if you start an NGO, you start think, am I able to get a funding? You don't know. So is it applicable that you can get a funding? You don't know. So you work as individual, you don't have a big team. Start like the donor or any documents you do, the reporting is all at trial part. Your funding is usually seasonal and the impact is limited. While in level 2, you start to be reactive, a lot of drama for the the team is very dramatic. There is a lot of doubts from donors about your NGO. The funding is intermittent, so sometimes you have funding, sometimes no, and then there is a random impact. Why I'm discussing this? Because we all need to agree that usually the good NGOs, they are at least at level 3, because usually they can predict how much funding they could get. They have a proactive team, persistent, like proactive leadership, persistent team. Also, they are compliant, so they keep doing good reports. They keep working, trying to achieve the results and goals agreed with the donor, and they keep the donor recurrent, and the impact start to be systemic and good. And then the NGO could improve to the level 4 and level 5. The NGO could be innovative if they can reach the sustainability level, and because their team is responsive. The donor usually prefer to work with this NGO, so they start having a lot of funding, so we can call this funding exponential, and their impact is universal in the country or the community they are working on. I will not discuss a lot about this unless you have questions. I need someone of you or all of you to ask before I move. But what I want to stress or to insist in is that to be a successful NGO, you need to be compliant. And if you are compliant, your donor will be a recurrent donor. And now you can succeed. If you can't have your donor a recurrent donor, then you will not succeed as an NGO. Because every time you lose the donor and then you start to search for a new donor, then you work with the donor for 1 year and you lose this donor, then you start to look for a new donor. But if you are good NGO and compliant, then you will keep the same donors working with you all the times. So they are recurrent, and now you are growing by bringing new donors and keeping the old donors. Any question before I move from this table? I'm sure you need a lot of time to discuss it or understand like the details around it, but I wanted to start with that because I need you to keep thinking about compliant and recurrent. Any question at this level?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes. If we talk about the level 3, or if we speak about level 3 and productivity, I mean, there's a lot of changes happening in the world. I mean, currently, I mean, the war in Ukraine and the let's say the donors concentration in a country or in a programs. Does this make any I mean changes in this table?
Although the NGOs will start to suffer if they have a recurrent donor, and then because the war in Ukraine started to shift the funding from country to country, but no, still if you are a good NGO, you will keep your donors. Maybe the level of the funding will, like, maybe if you are receiving $1 million, maybe you will start receiving $500,000. That could be or less, but still you can keep your recurrent donors because they might be recurrent not every year. They could be every two years or every three years, but you can keep working with the same donors. Maybe I will ask for this. I will start with Irina. You have donors right now, right, for your NGO?
Yes, of course. We have two big donors as USAID and Global Fund, and several small donors.
Yes.
No, smaller, not small, but smaller.
Okay, micro donors, but it's fine. It's fine. But do you work with them like started, let's say 5 years ago, and then you keep signing many agreements with them?
Yes. For example, with USAID, we started to work at in 2018.
Wow, perfect. And then you signed many agreements.
Yeah.
Yeah, it means that you are compliant, because the donor will never sign again unless they find that you are compliant. This is amazing. If we keep asking, let's say, I might ask Abdullah, I think. Is Abdullah with us? I think yes.
I am I'm working on something.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, just wanted, for example, if we talk about Save the Children, they usually work with EU, they work with UK Aid, they work with many other donors. They will keep making the donor recurrent. Also, maybe Huda, if you want to answer this question, can you remember how many funding did NFDHR receive from maybe Yemen Humanitarian Fund or from UNICEF or from others?
Okay, actually, in the recent years, we have recurrent donors. We have the UNICEF, we have the YHF, we have the WFP for more like than 7 years now.
Okay.
And yeah, and they are recurrent, and we are also at the same time trying to find other donors. So it's not only a matter of recurrent donor, but also diversified. I wanted just to share a kind of thought, because the idea is not to have a recurrent donor that is the same person, I mean, again and again.
Yes.
We need also to diversify, to be recurrent and diversified. So it's not just one donor, but maybe a number of other donors.
Okay, so to add to what you said, Huda, usually the NGO that is at the level of number 4, they are scalable. So they have diversified funding, many sources of funding. But what I was discussing is that in order to be diversified, before that you need to be recurrent.
Yes, we are actually.
Yes.
NFDHR is a kind of, it has recurrent donors, as I said, the UNICEF, the YHF, the WFP, and nowadays, I think the UNDP is going to be also recurrent, because we are trying to have another project with them. So I think, yes, we reached this point, and also we are looking for more donors. So I think we are moving to level 4, which is the diversified.
The diversification, great. So because I have a lot of details about NFDHR as a former CEO for NFDHR, so yeah, we have Bandar. Yeah, you could ask.
Yes, I mean, the most challenging, I mean, I'm not sure is it for everyone or is it for me, understanding the structure of the donors. I mean, sometimes if we look at the annual report for OCHA and the main donors internationally, and the relation between, or the structure between the donors. I mean, if we talk of a specific donor, I mean, for me, I don't understand the relation when we say OCHA, then we say UN, then we say UNDP, and then under UNDP will be a direct approach.
Okay, yeah, we can discuss that. We can discuss that. We can discuss about the donors and structures. Yeah, so I'll give you a clear example what we mean by recurrent and diversified and so on. So because as I told you, I was the CEO of NFDHR, and then I tried to bring this figure from NFDHR. Although we are already asking Huda, but because I've been trying to work on this before. So as you notice, when we started NFDHR in 2013, we work with this amount of funding. This is all in US dollars. And then in 2014, 2015, so we kept growing. That's the pyramid I was talking about. So now we are working, trying to build a pyramid. So that's our funding from 2013 till 2021. The last year we spent $11.3 million. But 2020 it was a little bit more, $11.4 million, and so on. So we keep growing because we keep learning and we keep improving the team every time, and we are pushing as much as we could to be compliant, so that we keep our donors recurrent. If we want to ask a question, how we were able to grow like this, I will tell you how. Because we keep our donors recurrent. So this is our recurring funding. If we notice that we have a funding from Yemen Humanitarian Fund, or OCHA, we signed about 47 agreements during the last 10 years. From UNICEF, 19 agreements. With WFP, 9 agreements. WHO, 3. FAO, 4. UNDP 1. So for example, UNDP, this was the first one. If we are able to sign another and third and fourth, it will become recurrent. UNHCR 2, NFDHR 4. We've funded ourselves. UNFPA, this donor we lost in 2019. This was because we had difficulties with the implementation on the field, so we couldn't keep them a recurrent donor. We think this is our mistake, because we couldn't keep this donor a recurrent. IOM 3 times, WA 4 times, Vision Hub once. Also, still we are pushing to make them a recurrent. Oxfam, we signed 10 agreements, CARE 2, Relief International 1, DRC 2, Silver World 1, and so on. So the idea is that these are our funding. But if you notice how we could have this shape, is this because we keep our funding recurring? Sorry. Yeah, so if, these recurring donors are the reason why we have this funding growing that way. So what is our growth level? Usually the NGO works on two different approaches. There are NGOs who are working project-based. Usually those who are working project-based, they are still at level 2 or 3, sorry, 1 or 2. Usually the challenge is to get the funding. But then if they have a lot of funding, recurring donors and diversified donors, they start to suffer from the quality of implementation and reporting, and these should be programs based. It means that they are they have a dedicated team for programs. So for example, if they work on education, you will find that they have someone, they have one of their staff that is the education manager. But if it's just project manager, so it's project based. But program is the program manager, and so on. I can also discuss it more, but usually to be proactive, scalable, and sustainable, you need to be programs based NGO. Now we can never be a proactive leader if we work alone. So we need to agree on this. You will never be proactive unless you have team working and you are working with them, inspiring them and helping them to achieve the goals, closely working with them. Now, if I want to just to confirm why we are diversified. We are diversified because if you notice that in WASH, we work in WASH, and we received about $17 million of funding. This should be in, sorry, if I want to make it very clear, funding, I should say USD, and this should be like this. So it's like $17 million. In health and nutrition, we work with $11 million. In food security and livelihoods, we worked with $13 million. Education, this is old. I think this needs to be updated because we are already about $4 million here. Yeah, it's 4 million. Yes, it's 4 million. Yes, protection. Protection is 1 million something, and then shelter, sorry, 2 million something, and then governance 2.2 million. So if you notice that we are diversified in terms of the fund of the donors, and we are diversified in terms of the sectors. That's how we worked. And on 10 years, we had about 119 agreements and projects signed and implemented in the field. This is just an example so that you understand what I mean by diversification. And this is the diversification. When the NGO is number 4, sorry, okay. When the NGO is in number 4, let me just again extend the presentation. Yes. So when the NGO is number 4, then they should be diversified, and the impact is scaled to different sectors and to different cities. Any question at this level? Okay. Usually the NGO strategy, we usually have programs, we target number of beneficiaries, and then we have funding. How can we get the money from the donors, and how can we receive the funding and spending it? Yes, Abdullah, yeah.
A small question here, Mr. Adel. Regarding our expansion growth, do we have strategy or ideal strategy that we are looking for? I mean, we might expand and be huge in the market of humanitarian NGOs, but this will be on the expenses of quality. and maybe we can grow, and then there will be another crisis in another place. Then we will have a short drop in the fund, then we will collapse. So do we have a strategy in terms of the diversity of the program that we are targeting? Do we have or restriction on some of the donors because they involved in the war in some way? So this is
yeah, as you mentioned, we could have some restrictions if we decided, for example, some NGOs, they decide not to get funding from certain donors. This could happen. But also we can scale according to the capacity we have. But usually, because the funding is competitive, you cannot decide not to apply for this donor and to apply for that, because you don't know if you apply that you are going to get it. So usually it's really competitive. We as NGOs, we need to compete for any available opportunity. Because if we kept saying no, 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 then we might lose the ones we said yes, yes, yes. That's the problem. So it's really difficult decisions and challenging for the leaders. But still, as much as you could apply for funding, just do it. And then you need to build a team for HR to the hiring process and to train the staff and supervision. Yeah, it's challenging. But for NGOs that needs to keep growing and diversifying of funding and programs, you need to find and apply for any available funding. Even if it's $1 funding, I mean, like, let's say $1,000 of funding, you should apply for if you can do that.
Sorry, Mr. Adel, but sometimes if we apply for small grants, then the effort behind the implementation, the liaison with the coordination on the ground, this will take much of our time. So sometimes we only apply for, so for us in SCI, we don't apply for less than 1 million.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good idea, but this is a little bit, I don't want to see it's wrong, but because usually if you start to get the small funding, if they like your work, then they start to grow with you. They start to make it big. I will tell you, for example, in 2015, I met the executive director of ZUA, the country director, and she told me, please, we have a funding of $1,000 to conduct an assessment in Sana'a. Are you able to accept that? I said, yes, we will accept it. Because we did that, then we received 70,000. Then we received 700,000. And then it's like we kept receiving like more than $1 million of funding we received because we accepted the 1,000. So that's the problem. We have to accept the small ones to get growing with and improving with the donor. We get the trust we needed, and then they keep working with us because they like what we do. So that's another perspective of why we talk about keeping recurrent donors, because you grow with them, not you grow. You don't start from like higher level. Okay. Great questions. I like that. Yes. So Bandar, do you have a question?
Yes. In this training program, would we be understanding the type of donors and also the requirement of donors, or how we can get the idea of the requirements or needs? The reason I'm asking, because sometimes we, as a bank, we participate in the fund. If it's $10 million, my strategy or approach is to share my project and mention that the bank will be, let's say, contributing to the fund of 50%. So we are giving $5 million, and we need another $5 million. I mean, I'm not sure where this could be covered, in the future, but just I wanted to ask this question. Thank you.
Yeah, we will try to talk about it. If not, then we can cover it in a separate discussion. But generally, when you are able to contribute, it gives you, it makes you stronger competitor for the funding. That's the usual thing. But still, as a bank, if you are registered as a private sector, then this is the question: how can we find a donor that accepts giving money for the private sector or the private registered entities?
Well, we are not a private. The bank is in let's say NPO, non-profit organization.
Perfect.
I mean,
Perfect.
yes, we don't don't distribute any revenue.
Profits for anyone. That's right. That's
yes,
right.
no profits, no profits. This is in our internal اللوائح الداخلية وغيرها.
Yes,
So yes, we are considered as an NPO, I guess, if this is a good name to give.
This
Thank
is really great info. So I think as long as you are non-profit, you are in a stronger position to get more funding, and we can talk a lot about that.
Thank you.
Yes. Who else? I think there was someone who raised. No. Okay. I will move from this. So usually, let's say that we are all a funding team. As a funding officer, specialist, or even NGO leaders, what do we want to understand? We need to have two tasks, usually donor acquisition and donor retention. Why we should work by this way? Donor acquisition is to acquire new donors by prospecting, searching for new donors, trying to do engaging the donors in our mission. So how can we make the donor know more about us? How can we make them visit us, or we visit them, or we meet together and talk about our mission and what we do, and then they tell us what they do, and we find the opportunities to work together. The donor retention is to keep the current donors and making them a recurrent donor. And this is the most important. Why? For me, I think the donor retention is even the most important tasks should be done. Because if we are losing our current donors, then it will be no, it doesn't make sense to bring new donors while we are losing the current donors. That's the idea. So usually it's called cultivation or reporting. The good, let's say, the compliance, the more we are compliant to the agreements, to the policies and rules, the more we keep them working with us for as long as possible. Okay. I would also need to insist that keeping the donor is much easier than bringing a new donor. So we need to keep the current donors. Then we try to bring a new donor. Why donor prospecting? Why do we need to do donor search and donor engagement? Because we should never rely on one or two sources of funding. We should keep looking for new funding. We should keep diversifying the funding, never rely on just one or two sources of funding. That's a rule we should all keep in mind. I have seen many NGOs that relied on one donor or two, and after a few years, the donor stopped funding them, then they just closed because it's like a shock for them. They were not prepared or ready to bring new donors. Usually there are 10 types of funding models. We have what is called grants, which is the institutional funding, the funding that we receive it after we sign an agreement with donor agency. And then there is a crowdfunding, donations, memberships and alumni, special events. We could have sales of products, provision of trainings and services, sponsorships, government support, or the founders could be the donors. That's like these funding models are the most common. Of course, there are other models, but let's say these are the most common practice. Usually, like for the NGOs, every NGO is focusing mainly on grants to get agreements with a new donor. So usually they keep the funding by grants at the heart of their strategy, and then they do funding, donations, or whatever. Now the question is that what is the healthy funding model for the NGO? What keeps the NGO sustainable and really in the best way possible? The healthy NGO funding should be like this. This is the healthy NGO funding. It should be restricted 70% from the grants. It should not be more than this. And restricted should be 30% through crowdfunding, sponsorships, donations, services, sales, or whatever, or by alumni or the let's say the founders. In general, this is the best, or if the NGO could keep 70-30%, then they are good. If they could not, then they are fragile. They could. Have you ever heard about donor-dependent NGO? So if the NGO is 100% grants, depending on grants 100%, then they are known as donor-dependent, and this is a big weakness. This is an example for Oxfam diversified funding. They receive 41.7% from agencies like United Nations, European Union, governments, NGOs, foundations. Only about 42%. This is the grants. This is very healthy funding model. They have public fundraising about 39. So 39% of their funding is coming from donations. People contribute, gifts, corporate foundation. So it's like donations. It could be individuals, could be agencies. They have a treat, if you notice here. If you notice here, they have about 17% from trading revenues by online sales from Oxfam shops and so on. So they have about 17% of their funding trading. Others, they might have some interest and investments. They receive about 1% and so on. So they keep diversifying as much as possible, but the way they diversified the grants and the donations is really amazing. This is the dream of each NGO to be at this level, because this means that let's say they are not really donor dependent. If the donors, the agencies stopped their funding, still they will keep more than 80, let's say, 58% of the funding is still from different resources. And this is really great. What we need to do as NGOs to prioritize our funding models. So we need to prioritize depending on our capacities. But we should try to use more than one funding model. We could receive grants and apply for proposals, but still we need to search for other types of or funding models. For example, the grants, usually we think it's like a restricted funding. So the grants is the best for sure, but it's restricted. How we do it? We identify the donors, the potential donors. We qualify them. We search this NGO donor fit. This is the question we had. We had from our colleagues, that can we understand what donors are asking from us, so we can decide if this donor is a good donor to apply for or not. This is what is called qualify. And then we apply by developing a proposal, and then we submit. Negotiation is after the proposal is reviewed and, let's say, initially accepted for more discussions. Then we start negotiations. After that, we go for the funding. So this is the funding funnel. It's like when you go for funding, you need to identify donors from the beginning, and then you go down till you convert the donor and making them a new donor by signing an agreement and funding your NGO. For the crowdfunding, if you know about Global Giving, you know about others like GoFundMe. There are many platforms, Fundwise, and so on. Like you have a story, you have a video or pictures, and then you write what you want, and you identify how much you want, and then like people contribute to your mission. It's not easy for sure, but still it's something that is practiced by many NGOs, and they receive a lot of funding. I think if we share the story of let's say Ukraine, there were a lot of crowdfunding done online for Ukraine. Everyone was launching a fundraise, whether in Facebook fundraise or let's say global giving and many other platforms. So they collected a lot of money for NGOs in Ukraine. The donations, usually the donations is like individuals, people like give money for the NGO. But the problem for donations is that usually people give money for religious thoughts sometimes, or so when they never just give money for anyone. Now NGOs need to innovate. Yeah, like NGOs need to have a different way to ask for donations. And why I put this picture, I was in London in 2017. This is not a person who works on the, let's say, the Queen Palace. No, he's just a person that is volunteering with a charity. He is wearing this uniform because people likes to take pictures with him. And he says, okay, you need to donate 2 UK pounds for a charity so that you can take a picture for me. So for me, as a visitor to London, I was not thinking of donating 2 UK pounds for an NGO, but I did because I wanted the picture. So usually what I wanted to say is that donations, the people usually think when they donate that they benefit something from the donations. It's really difficult for NGOs to establish donations or campaigns for donations, but still there are many, especially in the West, like UK, US, and others, they do a lot of things to make people donate money for them. Memberships and alumni, there are agencies, for example, this is SIU Alumni Association. I mean, there are many associations. Usually they take $40 annually, like everywhere from their alumni, those who graduate. Usually they contribute every, let's say every year or every month to support the agency. They try to keep like a link with these agencies. There are special events. If you notice the cancer control foundations everywhere, they usually do what is called a marathon. For example, the Cancer Research UK, they keep doing the Race for Life, like every year, and they support a lot of types of cancers. During the last 20 years, they received more than more than 8 million people participated with them in this Race for Life, and then they raised more than 547 million, so more than 0.5 billion of UK pounds, and this was like spent on saving the cancer survivors and to do a lot of researches. So the idea is that this race or these events, they keep doing helping the NGOs to raise a lot of funding. I noticed that even like Oxfam, Save the Children, CARE, and so many, they also organize marathons because this is the best type of donations or the best type of motivating people to donate. Sponsorships, fundraising story. Like I met this guy in San Francisco in 2016. And he was volunteering with Children International NGO. They are fundraising, like usually they have people supporting children. Like for example, if I signed that, if I agree that I become a sponsor for a child, then I should pay $30 every month or maybe every year. I'm not really sure. Was it every month or every year? But let's say $30 that you should pay to support a child in a developing country. They have more than 30,000 sponsors for 30,000 children. The best NGO that do sponsorships is Save the Children. So Save the Children, if you go to their websites, you will see that they have a lot of sponsorships for children. You will find the name of the child, where this child live, and and that he or she wants sponsor. And then they have more than 100,000 sponsors who donate every month just to support this child. And when you sponsor a child, it means that you start pay money for this child for years, like until the child becomes more than 18 years old. So you sponsor their education, their clothes, their maybe living, maybe in a family or with parents or whatever. But in general, you sponsor the whole needs. You cover the whole needs of the children, especially to get the education and keep like getting a good future. The sales of product is another model. Like this was in Oxfam shops in London. Oxfam, usually they have about 700 Oxfam shops, and I was happy when I found them in London. But you see that they have this labels as if they are really not a charity organizations, as like they are a brand for trade or a private sector, which confirms that trades is a really good way to bring funding for the NGOs. Okay, provision of trainings or services. Many NGOs, they have health centers, hospitals, training centers, institutions for education, and then they get fees, they get money, cost recovery money. This helps them to raise more funding and diversify. Sometimes the founder is the donor. This was like a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I don't know if they already could keep working on the same foundation or not. So in general, as a rich person, he is funding his own NGO, and he could convince the others to pay a lot of money and to donate a lot of money for this foundation to keep. I mean, even if he was the richest man on earth, he still bring more funding from his friends for the foundation he works on. So we need to keep funding every time. So how can we identify our prospecting donors? If we are in, when the COVID-19 started, we never been able to meet donors in person. So there were no events, no conferences, no trainings, no regional events or international events. The only way we were able to get to know donors is through the network, so through the internet, through the platforms. So what is the best way to search for donors and keep learning more about them? Let's start searching together. Usually the donor prospecting, there are many platforms. You could register in anyone. Most of them, it's for money. Usually, I mean, you have to pay to search for the donor. But we can go for some of these platforms and search for donors. So let's start with a portal, or we go for fund for NGOs and so on. Also, if you want to do unrestricted funding by crowdfunding, then you could go to these. There are also others, but I try to give these platforms. You could visit and try to understand more about let's say to what extent you could raise funding. Okay, now what I will do is that we start to search for donors together. So now I would encourage any one of you. I would encourage every one of you to register to have your account in portal, and then we will open this account for you for 1 year from now. So if I go for this, I will share with you. Is this? Sorry. I think I have more than one. Okay. I will share with you the link to portal for those who doesn't have accounts in portal. So we start using it for we start using it for searching for donors. Let me send you this on a chat. Where is the chat? Yes, this is the chat. I'm sending you the link. If you could open Portal. If you have an account in Portal, you could just sign in. We could just sign in. And search. Now I am in Portal. We see we have a lot of funding opportunities. We could go to funding. We go to, we see the funding opportunities. If you have an account or please let us know, just send us your email, you registered with account. So if this is not active for you, we can activate. This is for every one of you. So we have, we go to funding, we start searching for donors. Let's say we are searching for Ukraine. In Ukraine, there are about 322 donors we could find so far. And then these are the donors that could support Ukraine. We could also search by type. I don't know, Bandar, if this was your question about the donor types and so on. But let's say we don't need to search by type. By the program, let's say you could also search by the program. So if you are working on, let's say we talk about Olga. Olga, you are focusing on biodiversity and wildlife. So we will search for donors who support biodiversity and wildlife. How many do we receive now? We have about 45 donors who support conservation and wildlife in Ukraine. Let's say we want to follow this. Let's say we want to follow this donor, so we do follow. We can understand more about the donor right from here. We read about it. We can visit the link of the donor and learn more about them. That's how we search. Now they are a grant making, which means that how to apply, to discuss how to apply and so on. Yeah, so this is just like a way to start. Irina, do you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so let's try to find a new donor for you.
Okay.
I'm sure it's difficult, but let's try. So now you mentioned you work on health, you work on gender-based violence and protection, and
yes,
what else?
Health. Maintain health. Yes, health.
Okay, so the health and the protection is just like an additional program. Okay. So what we will do is that we go for maybe we start from the funding opportunities. We start by location, Ukraine. There are 52 open call for proposals for Ukraine. But also if we want just the health ones, let's filter. Let's hope there is an open call for proposal. How many do we have? There are 10 call for proposals that are open for Ukraine.
UCAG.
Early Career Awards, Conservation Food Health Foundation Grant Program, open call to develop heat-stable vaccine, open call for strengthening modeling research, request This is just so let's agree on one. Let's agree on welcome early. No, not this one. Yes, I like this. I think maybe this one.
Okay.
So what we will do is that the donor is Conservation Food and Health Foundation. Okay. The deadline is the 1st of January 2023. So now, if I ask you a question, do you know about this donor before?
No.
Okay. So now we will start exploring more about it, because now we are doing donor prospecting. Can we know more about this donor very quickly? So we decided to focus on this donor. I will open this. So now I opened the page for this donor, and we could visit the website and so on. Let's see if we have a LinkedIn profile for the donor. We could go also for the website. This is the website of the donor, how to apply. So you could apply anytime. Concept application is this, grant round 1, 2, and then request for a proposal, deadline, and so on. Okay, this is 2022, 2025.
Great.
Okay, so we will make sure if this donor is also applicable in Yemen, so we might learn together about this donor, so we all learn about it. Let me go back. I want to see if Yemen is also targeted, because this means all of us will work together to apply. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't. Okay. Okay. It might not, but let's say as an example now. You could also, if you are in portal, you could add this as a donor or as a stakeholder. Okay, we'll come back for that. But now what we want to do is that we will take the name of the donor, because now we just know the name of the donor, but we want to know who is the director, who is the program manager working for this donor, who is doing what, and then we go for LinkedIn. I will go for LinkedIn, searching for this. Hopefully they have a LinkedIn page. If they don't, then it's difficult. Is this the same or a different one? If they don't have a LinkedIn profile, it will be really strange. Okay, Bandar, do you have a question?
Yes, please. I mean, as this is an example, if the donor doesn't work in the country, I mean, what is the possibility of approaching these donors and convincing them to work in a country where they are not intervened? I mean, working in that country. So, I mean, in preparing my plan, my fundraising plan or strategy or whatever you call it, and seeing that a country does not work in Yemen, or I'm sorry, a donor, does that mean that we should not give a shot or an approach?
Yeah, it would be much better to start with the ones who are focusing on the country. But then it doesn't mean that you don't approach these if you have time. So you less prioritize them only, but still you should give a try.
Thank you.
So if they don't have a LinkedIn profile, then we will search for another donors. Okay, Irina. So because this will be difficult to get engaged with. Let me try to understand why they don't have a LinkedIn profile. Okay, and they have very old websites, very old. Very old, yeah, okay. So this is just like, okay, we know about this. I think you should, if you could develop a proposal and then just apply. But we need to, it's very strange that they don't have anyone on LinkedIn. Okay. Because there is Conservation Foundation, but not the same one. Not the same one. So sorry, I will go for this donor. I will not. This is not a good example. So let's find another donor. Let's find another one. Okay. Are we still the same? Okay, search. Maybe we could find a donor that is also focusing on Yemen too. So it might be both countries. Donor. Okay, let's see Yemen. Search. Okay. Should we search for this if it's available on LinkedIn? Open call, strengthening modeling analytics, open call for conservation, welcome early career awards. Yes, for USAID, we know USAID. Okay, so we will go for this. Let's hope they have a LinkedIn profile, unless we will select for a different one. Okay, I will search for this on LinkedIn. No. What happened to the donors today? I am sad.
It's the name of program. Maybe you should look for name of donor. If you go to portal, it was different. You see?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. I didn't notice this. Yeah, it should be the donor because it's very strange. Okay. Yes, but the first one, I think I was taking the name of the donor. So if this is not, yeah. So now we have this associations. We started with the executive director. Okay. Let's go for this. So now I visited the profile of Audra, the executive director of Alzheimer's. She will get, I don't know, she or he, I think she. She will get she will notice that I visited her profile. She might be like very curious to know who I am. Then she visit me. She see where I am working. Then she knows about portal and so on. Okay, full-time, Florida, until present. I will not, if you see now, I have one mutual friends between me and Udra. Let me see if this person is working on the same NGO or not, or in different person. Oh, Good United. Okay, so no, a different person. Do I need to send an invitation for the executive director? Usually, I don't like to start with the director, but I would go for other ones. So I open the page for Alzheimer Association, and then we go for people. Did you notice how many employees working with them? 2,900. It's very strange. It's so much. Okay, so let's see. We start with help me to decide executive director. Okay, because you know in the United States there is like the same association has many offices in every state. Okay. That's why. I want to connect with engagement. I will, okay, even if I told you I don't want to send to the director, but I will send to this. So I will go for connect, and then I add a note. You have to add a note. So I see dear Mark. I will be happy to connect with you and learn from your experiences. Looking okay, to connect and learn. To connect, follow. Okay, follow you and learn from your experiences. Many thanks, Adel. CEO Portal 365. Let's see what happened, but okay, I sent him. So the idea is that we keep sending to as many as possible from the same organization. Still, I didn't feel comfortable sending to this or selecting this example, because there are many executive directors and there are many offices in every state. So in California, they have a different Alzheimer Association, and New York a different Alzheimer Association, and so you don't know whom you are targeting now. Okay, Alzheimer. Let me see if okay, give. Okay, follow. Great. So I will move from this. We need another example. This is because we selected just health, so it was a difficult example. But okay, we can search for another example. Basma, do you want to search for a donor for culture heritage?
Yes.
So let's see. Location, should we define a location?
Yemen.
Okay, so let's see. Yemen. Okay. Maybe we could also search Ukraine if this is possible. Ukraine. Okay. So,
you're searching for donor, not for location.
Yeah. I was wondering why. Ukraine. Okay. Where is Ukraine? Okay, Ukraine. So let's say if we find the program Culture Heritage. Okay. Filter. Okay, now we have, although this is religious initiatives, we have the Sumoto Foundation. Alif. Okay, there is a one here, but I think it's just for Yemen, not for Ukraine, I think. What is Aleph? So we go for Aleph, we can visit the donors. We can send the search for the donors. Okay, let's see. Let's go for LinkedIn, just to make sure we can find more information about it. Okay, this is Aleph. We follow. They have 4 employees on LinkedIn. Yumna Sheikh, Ahmed Al-Mu'taz, only these ones. Maybe they were old staff, right? Previous staff. Let's see. Aleph, Chief Marketing Officer. Okay. Basma, I think you need to do the same search, and you send a connect.
Okay.
Okay, I will not send a connect to because she will think why people are sending me the same messages today. Maybe for this, Ahmed also, and then you talk to them about the funding opportunity. Accounts manager, Kaspar Sky. Okay. Oh, okay. This is the founder of Aleph. Great. Okay.
Do you think it's the same organization? Wait, the same thing, or because the logo is different?
Let's go. Yeah, because I didn't know. It's different. Yes. Yes. This is different. This is a different. They have account on Twitter. Okay. So this is account. Yeah, it means that they are not the same ones. You're right. They should have a LinkedIn here. Usually, when the donor doesn't have a LinkedIn profile, it makes it difficult for us to understand and communicate more with their staff. Yes, Bandar.
Yes, this gets me back to my first question regarding the structure of donors. Now, as I understand, Alpha or Aleph, they are a foundation and they look also for funds, right? They might be having the part.
They have funding, so there is a call for proposal. If you could apply to get funding from them.
Okay, so I mean, they must be having partners or maybe international partners such as let's say UNPA or any other international.
No. You know, Bandar, when they have a call for proposal, it means that they are open for new partnerships.
Okay, so they are let's say they are individual, and maybe they are not depending on other UN donors.
Exactly. But for this call for proposal, they already identified that they want partners from Yemen.
Okay, so it's a call for proposal. Yes.
Yeah. So the competition is amongst Yemeni organizations only.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Abdullah.
Yes, Mr. Adel, from the explanation before, I can see that we are looking for the opportunity. Then we go to LinkedIn or Twitter to communicate directly with the founders or someone inside the organization.
Yes.
Is it better that we have this communication before we apply officially to the grant, or we
you should be their friends even before you get the funding, because because if they have a call for proposal, now I'm selecting the bad examples. I will show you the real search. But for now we search for the call for proposal, and then we go for the donor. But usually you have a strategy. Let's say I will go for the strategy. I will leave this example. Let's say now you are appointed as a partnership for your NGO, and you want to search for new funding. So you don't only search for funding opportunity, you search for the donors.
I see.
So you go for the donors. Now let's say when you go to portal, for example, there are 1,100 donors. This is in general. Let's say how many are there for Yemen, and then how many for Ukraine. So I go to donors, I search. Why we do this? Because we try not because you will keep searching for multi-thousands of donors. What we will do for you in portal is that we tell you, no, don't search for everyone. Now you have 351 donors.
I see.
That they think about Yemen. So don't keep searching for something. Don't repeat what others are doing. Because it doesn't mean that you don't search. Yeah, if you have time, go and search. But here we are trying to limit this. So now we have 351. Let's see how many do we have for Ukraine. 322. So almost the same number.
I see.
So let's say we keep search about Yemen, and then if you are searching for certain sector, let's say you search for those who focus on let's say protection, GBV. Then you could also limit the search. If you are working on protection and GBV, don't go for the 322. Just go for these, and you notice that they are 81 donors.
I see.
So now what will you do? You just go for example, let's say we select one of these donors and we search. So if let's say we go for National Endowment for Democracy. Some of the donors, we could understand more about their funding. So you notice how many NGOs they received funding from this donor. In 2014, they received 25,000, and this basement received this and this. Not all of them we are able to get the funding, the information. But this is for this agency, and then you go for net, let's say net. You go and search for net online and visit their LinkedIn and so on. But no, I will not use this. Let's search for another one.
I saw the British Embassy.
Maybe the British Embassy in Sana'a, we could, let's say, although it's not the best example, because we might not find them on LinkedIn as a British Embassy. Usually the staff will write that they work for the Ministry of Yemen, let's say. If Yemen, they don't have. So let's select another one. The idea here is that we try to go even more. So let's search for this Channel Foundation. Chartered Climate Technology. Let's search for this. Conrad. Okay. So they have LinkedIn here. They have LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And then sometimes they have a call for proposals. Okay, so let's go for this. Let's go to LinkedIn to know more about it. They have 169 employees. Do I know anyone? Okay, so as you see, I already sent before a connection request, but was not accepted. Others, okay, no, because usually if I see a donor that is important, I start to connect with some of their staff. So let's say I have a question. Now, let's say I really need to talk to someone from this NGO. Why I can't do that right now? Because LinkedIn doesn't give me the chance to do it, because I am already the second connection for them. Did you notice this? Why
Can you repeat this?
Yes, we noticed.
Like, for example, I need to talk to them now, but I can't send them direct messages because LinkedIn tell me, no, you are not there connecting. You are not connected to them yet. If I am connected to Carly, she will be first, but I'm now the second. But if you go and search for Carly, she will be the third for you. Why she could be the third? Because you don't have any mutual connections with her. But for me, there are more than 20 connections mutual between me and her, but she's not connected to me. If I send her a connection request, she will see how many mutual connections. She will probably accept my connection request. If she is already connected to me, I can talk to her anytime. That's the idea. So, so I was starting. See, because I started with the president and CEO, he didn't answer. So what should I do is that I withdraw the connection, and then I go for this. Let's say I will go for dedicated improving lives to children, to promoting support, vice president, manager.
I have a question.
Yes.
Excuse me. So the right people to contact on LinkedIn are the people, I mean, when we are looking for funds, is that we contact the people who are just in charge of partnerships, in charge of...
The problem is that when you send connection, if you want to learn, then you send connections to the ones you are interested in only. But let's say sometimes you send to a partnership officer and he or she will not accept because he or she doesn't see mutual connections. So sometimes you go around this and this and this, so you improve the opportunities for connections.
So the idea is that we get more connections on the targeted donor, so that we can contact them.
Yeah. So you start. Let's say. Now this person I have mutual connections. This person I have 8 mutual. This person I have 28 mutual. 44. See the president and CEO, 44 mutual connections. It means I have very important connections because he accepted them but didn't accepted me yet.
Okay.
7 mutual connections, 16, 79 connections. This is only one. The idea is that now if this person visited my profile, he will find me a second connection, but not third, because the more it's far, the more the likely to respond to your connection and messages. And then when you need this person in a time, you can't reach. See, this is Hannah Mora. Let's see if I can send messaging. No, I need to try premium fee. But if this is a connection, I will send them messaging anytime without paying any money.
Okay.
Okay, this is the partnership. Okay, so I will say, dear Rachel, Rachel. Okay, I will be happy to connect and follow you. Okay, Arina, come back. Okay, and follow you on LinkedIn and learn as we both work for NGOs. Or as we are both work for funding management. I'm trying to make here really feel comfortable to connect. And then I say many thanks. Okay, Adel. So let's say I will keep this message. And now LinkedIn give you the chance to send one. Like once you connect, you send this message. You know, the wrong thing to do is that you send a connection to someone, a connect request, and don't open their profile. You should open the profile. Because if you connected without opening the profile, they will think that you just like send random requests. While if you visit the profile, they will be informed that you visited their profile.
Okay, but as far as I know, we can see all the people who checked our profile if we have like a paid membership in LinkedIn. We have
Yes.
Premier.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But sometimes it gives, like, some people they give you the information, and some of them they have the paid account.
Okay.
Also, at least for now, you understand more about her. If you could visit the profile, and then you took more, because you're working as this and this and that and that, and we are sharing the same mission. I will be, so you could even talk more in the message. Okay. So now I told her that I am sending a request and follow. I would make sure to send a follow also, because if I said a follow, she will have a notification that Adel Salah followed you.
Mr. Adel,
Mm-hmm.
I was trying earlier to log into the portal 356.
Yes.
I created my account. Then they asked me for my profile, NGO profile, and more information.
Yes.
So from what I understand, the portal is accepting only the NGOs, not the individuals, persons like me.
No,
So
anyone is okay.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, you can use it to search for donors, to write proposals, whatever.
But it's asking for NGOs profile.
Okay, you can write your NGO, or you can just write personal account. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So now you see how many discussions and things related. But because I said I sent her a follow request, she will has a notification that I followed her, and then if she is curious, she will open my profile. She will accept the connection. She might respond by a message. As you notice here, I will show you a message I received yesterday from Indonesia. This is Dinda, is the partnership specialist in one NGO in Indonesia. So she said, "Thank you for visiting my LinkedIn profile." Did you see? Do you see that she knew that I visited her profile? So she said, "Thank you for visiting my profile and sending me connection invitation." Your article, she talked about my article about funding is the only sustainable model for NGOs. It's really interesting. Recently, I am in the middle to learn more about sustainability funding for NGOs and found your article in Google. I hope we can collaborate in the future. Thanks once again. So that's how we create opportunities and get engaged in how we engage the donors with us. We try to get as much as we can discussing things.
That is great. So can we say that the position plays a role here? My position may encourage people to respond to my message, for example, or is it the area?
This is a really important question, because that's the next step. Why I am telling you should have a LinkedIn profile, because how can you send people requests while you don't have a LinkedIn profile? A connection request. That's one thing. The other thing is that if your LinkedIn profile is weak, then the less they accept you. That's the idea. So you need to improve your profile. You need the one who comes to your profile to know that this is a professional. He or she is working on the same sector. He's active. I can learn from him or her. We can collaborate someday. They should feel that you are really something to him or to them. At least you are in the same sector, so why don't they accept the connection?
So before connecting with people, we should work a little bit on our profiles. And
I will tell you, like everyone, like a lot in US and Europe, they work a lot on the attend trainings just to improve their LinkedIn profile.
Okay, so I don't know, is there like a website or a place where we can visit to improve our profiles?
What you need is to you could visit my profile and just do the same, for example, but things would be related to your NGO. So you need a picture that like a header. Your picture should be professional. If you can't have a professional picture, you need to have something that shows that you are a professional person, because LinkedIn, as you can see, it's not like sending friend requests. It's connection, like work connections. So people are expecting you to show a very professional photo.
Okay, so it's business.
Yeah, it's business, and it's not friendship at all. Everyone is open to talk, because on LinkedIn they are not feeling that they are in their office. So for example, if you asking them about you are asking about, do you have funding, they could say yes, but we are not sure if you have the chance, because I mean, they could be really unofficial. But if you are in the office, or if you send email, they should send official email saying no, sorry, in the email.
So it's more friendly, because
Very
like business,
friendly,
but
and
more friendly.
More friendly, and they don't feel obliged. Like if they said yes, that yeah, okay, yes, no, it's okay, we were just discussing again. So it doesn't mean that we are really talking, like we are not negotiating work on LinkedIn. That's the idea.
Okay.
Like for me, I have had like twice like connections, and I received like a call for proposal request because of this.
I have a very small question.
Yes.
Now, is all the pages are in English? Or for example, if I'm looking for something for Ariana, for example, will she find things in Ukrainian language? I don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah, if you are interested to connect with people in, let's say, someone's who work on organizations in Ukraine, you might find the names are in Ukrainian. You will find Arabic names also.
Okay.
Yeah, but the best thing in LinkedIn is that like it's a global network. So the more it's English, the more you find people are really there. The good thing is that on LinkedIn, after you do a professional photo, a header, you should do some introduction here. Like for example, one time I was contacted by a founder of NGO in UK. She told me, because I read this, I felt like I need to talk to you. Because of this, helping NGO to grow and create an impact like superheroes.
It's impressive.
Yeah, she wants to be a superhero, and everyone wants to be like that. But the idea is that you need to introduce yourself in a way to tell the people very short way who you are.
Like you show your vision.
Exactly. Like for example, I didn't say I am the CEO of Portal 365. They will see what's Portal 365. So they need to go again to search about Portal 365. But I'm telling them that what I do is that I help NGO to grow. How NGOs could grow? By getting funding. So it's like a kind of motivation. You are making yourself more attractive. That's the idea. I mean, so you need. You also find that there is talk about NGOs, nonprofit, Portal 365, monitoring and evaluation. Anyone who is interested to talk about this, they can talk to me. If you notice that I have 8,300 followers. What and if we talk about the connections, we are talking about 7,600 connections. What does this mean? This means that if I accepted your connection, then you have 7,600 becomes your second connections. Now they are a third connections to you. If I accepted a connection with you, then I make them second to you.
That's great.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So the more the more you have connections, the more you have people coming closer. That's the idea. Yeah. So these are first. See, because they are connected to me, they are first. And so on. These are all first. If I want to, like, for example, I want to see how many connections in, let's say, Jordan only. I have 391 connections from Jordan. Most of them are programs managers, project officers, head of programs, CEOs, country directors, founders. I decide who should I connect to so that I build my profile. My future clients, I bring them together on LinkedIn. So when I talk to my clients, to my partners, to my future collaborators, whatever. If I want to search how many people do I know in Turkey, let's say in Turkey, how many people I know in Turkey and I can talk to them anytime? 335. If I want to talk to people in Ukraine, so I decide where I want people to connect with me. So Ukraine, how many people connected to me in Ukraine? 88. How many people connected to me from Amsterdam? Amsterdam, not Amsterdam, let's see the Netherlands. Netherlands. Okay, let's say Netherlands. 101. When you see them, they are all NGOs. Arab Dialogue, this is communication officer, this is council, I don't know. Okay. This was a donor for in the Netherlands embassy. But you see, they are Faris, okay. Faris in the Netherlands. Okay, this is my friend, okay. CEO of Nonprofit Child Development Ministry, okay, and so on. So see, they are mostly working on NGOs. So they could be someday working, I work for them, they work with me, we collaborate, whatever. But when I see this result, they didn't come like in one day. Like I worked for that for years. So the idea is that when I decide to write an article, let's say I go to my posts, okay? I go to my posts. For example, I posted about this training. I have 75. See how many people read it? 3,121 people. For this post, 5,600. Let's say for this, I remember one day I sent, okay, let me see. I posted about a training. The last time I conducted a training for Ukrainian NGOs. This was on last December. Let's see, yeah, this post I was looking for. So for example, this post, I have 7,745 impressions. And I don't care about likes and comments and so on. What I want to say is that if I go to analytics, it's closed because they want me to, okay, before it was open. Okay. Reactions, posts. Usually they give you what's the positions of these people, where they are from, and so on. So it's the best way to bring like your future donors and collaborators, partners, whatsoever. Let's see. So now let's start searching and talking about what is the best way to start connecting to people. But this time I want someone of you to share his or her profile, and then we work like he or she works, and we discuss. Like I will tell you, for example, I want to connect to people in Ukraine, but they should all work in humanitarian response, let's say. What I will do is that I go for, let's say I write program officer. I search on people. See, when I see search, LinkedIn giving me only programs officers, but starts because I said I am in Sana'a. It gives me only the people in Sana'a first, and then the others. But I want people. I start to decide, not courses, no jobs. No, I want people. And then I want people from Ukraine, not from any country. Okay, now everyone is going to be from Ukraine. Okay, do I want to talk to people on UNICEF or no? Let's say I will send to, I will open the filters, and I open for non-profits organizations. So the person should be working on non-profits. So I select the industry. I go here to select non-profit organizations. Sometimes there is what is called civil society, maybe. So no. Okay, let me just focus on non-profit organizations. Show results. Okay, now what I received is that how many numbers? There are 89,000 from Ukraine who are working in organizations. In Ukraine, they are in Ukraine now.
Sorry, Adel, you need to reset location once again.
Oh, okay. It means I was wondering why Yemen was there in Ukraine. I lost it. Okay. So now in Ukraine, we have 177 results. Oh, wow. And by the way, these are the only ones who are program officer. So now what I do is that I could visit everyone. For example, let's say this is the policy officer at the British Embassy. This is, let me search for coalitions building at USAID. Ukraine Response Program Officer at Mercy Corps. Humanitarian post-conflict Program Development Officer USAID. Emergency Response and Gender-Based Violence International Medical Corps, and so on. Senior Program Officer, Reporting Planning Alliance for Public Health. So let's say I will start connecting to chat. I have already the same message. Change the name. I'm happy. I will be happy to connect and follow you on LinkedIn, as we both work for funding and NGO management. Many thanks. Sent. But also because I sent him, it's better to follow. I will visit his profile and I will do a follow because he will be curious to know me someday. Perfect. If I want to talk to a donor directly, he or she should be already a connection to me. So for example, we have Olina. Olina is a senior program officer for networks. She's already first to me. Did you notice this? Is Olga, do we pronounce her name Olena or Elena or
Olena?
Olena? Okay, she's already a first, while most of them they are second. So let's say I want to talk to Olena regarding anything related to the job. Senior Program Officer for the network. So I say, hi, Olena. Ah, okay, we already talked before. Okay. So now, see, this is already 1 year ago. And I need to talk to her now. Hi, Olena. I will be happy to connect a training for, let's say, grant writing. Let me on grant writing for Ukrainian NGOs. I could do that for free. To support, let's say, just to support Ukraine. Please let me know. She is a network, okay? If your coalition is interested in this cooperation. Many thanks. Okay, so I can send her a message anytime. But if she was not already a first connection, I cannot. That's the idea. Okay. If she said yes, I will be in a difficult situation to do this training because I don't want to do the training, but I will have to do it at least for like a short training. Okay. This is the way we need to work in advance to bring people together. Like once ever we need to talk to them, we can talk to them. So now we decided, now we start to write program officer. Let's say I want to only connect to the CEOs. I will only connect to, let's say, the executive directors. I will search for executive directors. Ukraine non-profits people, we have 164. Do I have connections? Not yet. European, okay, Internews, British Council, Anti-Corruption Action Center, okay. Charity Foundation Stabilization Support Services. Okay. Because I'm not a connection to him, so now I have only this. Dear Mot. Sent. And I need to visit the profile. Executive Director. Okay. And then do a follow. Perfect. There are 3 mutual friends. It helps a lot. And so on. And this is the head of strategic partnerships, governments, NGOs, ventures. Okay. Yeah, I think this is so the idea. You decide whom do you want to connect to. If you want only partnership officer. We have 31 in Ukraine working for NGOs. We have this enacted. So LinkedIn told me, no, please, I already sent many. I should decide if I know where before. Okay, second. This is third, so it's difficult. So do you see no new mutual friend or connection? No mutual connection. Now this is second. Okay. Okay, so I don't have a chance to talk to them now. So the idea you decide. Do we have anyone of you to twist with us to practice? You want a break? Are you still having the energy to talk more?
Yes.
Okay.
I can share my LinkedIn if you want.
Yes, at least to learn more about how to search.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just close the share here. Who was talking? Sorry,
Me, Basma.
Basma. Yes, okay, so I'll make you a co-host. Okay, Basma. So maybe we could search for certain position. Maybe those who are interested in culture, heritage, and art. Let's see if this is helping.
Okay.
So start search.
Should I write art, heritage, or
No, maybe art and cultural officer. Maybe let's see if we find something. Or maybe art, culture, heritage, foundation. Let's see if start searching for those who are specialized in your field of interest.
I have, okay, just a minute, because I don't have that.
IT, okay.
IT.
AGE, okay. AGE. Foundation. If you write foundation, just to see what we will have.
Foundation. I'm not writing right.
Of OU, okay. Of OU, okay.
No, okay, sorry. Of OU. FOU.
Yes, foundation. Okay. No? Okay.
No.
If this is difficult, then you start the same way I did. If you have an account in portal, then you go search for donor, and then you select the sector and then search for that.
So this is the account, but I cannot go to
for funding.
Funding.
Okay, for funding. Donors.
I have this. I cannot go through
this is the new update. No, you are not in the DD forum, right?
I am. I'm still.
Okay, but this is not the same account in DD forum.
No.
By the way, your accounts, we will get your emails and we make them premium for 1 year, so no problem. But yeah, go for DD forum. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, funding, donors, and then select a program. No, the last one, a program.
Yeah, this is the location program. Okay.
Yes, you go for the sector. Yes. And that's it. You could go, yeah, you could select the location. Okay, Yemen. Yeah, YE. Okay. You go down for filtering. Okay. Okay.
I do filter.
So let's see how many do you have. Maybe you could go for Annenberg or another. Let's see how many at the end. Just go to see how many do you have. A lot.
Wow.
A lot
70.
of 70. Yeah. So now these are your target to search for.
Okay.
Global Foundation. Let's say maybe you start from here. You just open. Let's see if they have a linked account. You go still keep going down. Okay, maybe the linked account. Yeah, LinkedIn is there. No, they don't have.
There is no. There is Facebook website.
You might not find them on LinkedIn, but okay, that's another example.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do this one.
Okay.
They have LinkedIn.
Okay. This is the owner of the Arab Bank.
Okay.
So you go to people. So these are all the staff working on the foundation, and they also focus on culture heritage.
Good.
Okay, you start with the ones you have connections. Okay. Yeah, you do connect. It's fine. Hi, Noir, and yeah, add note. Add note, don't send. No, add note.
Okay.
Yeah. So dear. So this is the last example and on LinkedIn and how we connect. But this is really important. You don't know how much important it is to reach people you need. So for example, I have been contacted by many people. I want to talk to someone in UNHCR. I told them, why don't you go to LinkedIn to talk to them? Why do you want me to introduce you to someone who might be busy and doesn't want to talk?
Should I say I would like to know more about your...
No. Just I would like to connect and follow you. Just don't push here to feel like you are contacting here for work. I want to connect and follow you, so I learn from the good work you do. So you motivate them to connect.
Sorry, because
you do okay, that's fine. Yeah, on culture, or maybe on cultural projects, in cultural in art projects. Great. Many thanks, Aya, Basma. Okay.
I will follow you.
No, you already said that, so just say many thanks.
Okay.
Perfect. Let's see how you could keep sending the same for many of her colleagues. At least 1, 2, 3, or more of her colleagues will be interested to talk to you more.
Okay.
So that's how we do, how we search and how we find like the best donors. The idea is that you don't need to search for $100,000. You start with 300 or 200 or 100, and then you start to search for their connections. You try to meet them after that if they talk. You try to talk them about your NGO. If there is an opportunity to apply, can we collaborate? So you start discussing with most of your potential clients in the same place. Yes. So
About the first and the second, it's
yes, a connection. No, don't do that.
okay.
Because yeah, it's fine. And then yeah, now you found them all.
Okay, perfect.
Some of them, they are not working on culture now, but they worked before. Still, you could talk to them if you needed.
Okay. I just stop sharing.
Yes. Thank you so much, Basma. That's very helpful.
Just I have no idea how to stop.
You, I don't know if I can do it from my side, but stop participating. Okay, I did that.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much. So can we have like some minutes break before we keep doing the last part of today work? So what we will talk is that we will talk about the components of the proposal, what we should do to start writing the title of the proposal, and then we will like tomorrow we will go very deep in proposal writing. Should we have a break?
Okay.
Yeah.
How long should we have a break? You decide.
This is the last break we're gonna have, right?
Yeah, the last one, and we will keep maybe to 2:15 because everyone like comes late from the beginning, so we could keep talking to 2:15. And so, how about having 17 minutes break? So we come at I mean we come at 1:30. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So because we will go directly to the proposal writing after that.
Great.
So 20 minutes.
Less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's less
17.
about
Because it's 1:08 in Sana'a.
no, it's 1:13. It should be the same.
1:13.
So we should talk about minutes.
17 minutes.
Okay. See you in 1:13.
17 minutes. Okay, 17 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, we are here.
Great. I think we are ready to.
Hi, we are back.
Yeah, so let's hope is the network good? I think now it should be good. Okay. Now that I think is much better. Okay, great. So now we are starting to the proposal writing, but it doesn't mean that we will not keep discussion about how to select the best donors in your plan, and then you start connecting to them and starting contacting them. Still, we didn't cover the subject enough, but just to go direct to the proposal writing, and then we will try every day to visit how to search the donor, how to select the best donor. The proposal outline, we will start by what is the proposal and how can we start like understanding what are we going to learn during the next 3 days. Just before we start, we need to make sure that there are more than 100,000 donors in the world. There are actually 240,000 donors. That's the whole, like this is the most accurate number. 240K or 240,000 donors in the world. When we see donors, not individuals, donor agencies. But the problem is that every donor wants their own template. So very few donors could have the same template. Usually they ask for different templates. For example, someone will talk about the proposal background, another one will say, no, I need situation analysis. Another one will say, no, I need problem analysis. Another one would say about needs assessment. So everyone has a different way to write. What we will do is that we will learn the most basics and the most way of like we will try to have the logic sequence they all follow. So for example, everyone wants to understand the problem, everyone wants the objectives, everyone wants the outcomes, the outputs, activities, indicators, beneficiaries, budget, monitoring and evaluation. Most of them, they agree on this. So we will cover all the ones that most of the donors agree upon. So in this session, we will learn about the basic structure of every proposal, the proposal cover, and what is included in the executive summary, and then the situation or context analysis. Let's see, now we talked about donor prospecting. We will start about this session, the outline. We will talk about need assessment, the objectives, theory of change, logical framework, beneficiaries, monitoring and evaluations, gender inclusion, how to write about implementing partners and stakeholders. If we are going to write about our capacity and access to the targeted areas, if we are talking about the budget on details. So these are the most common components or outlines of every proposal. There might be some changes with others, but if we learn this, I'm sure we can write any proposal to any donor. Again, there are the main sections. We talk about the proposal cover. We will cover it today. Executive summary, usually at the end of the writing proposals, but we could just talk shortly today about it. We will talk about situation analysis. Then tomorrow we will start with need assessment using the problems tree by the problem analysis. So we will talk about all the components of the need assessment. Then how to write the grant request justifications, and how to select the targeted area, the capacity to, do we have the capacity to implement, the main objectives of the project, then the logical framework in terms of impact, outcomes, outputs, indicators, verification methods, risk and mitigation measures, and then activities, work plan, target groups and final beneficiaries, monitoring, evaluation, accountability and learning, gender inclusion, the NGO, and we are repeating, but that's the proposals everywhere. So we will go for the cover and the project name. We care about the name of the proposal because sometimes it makes a lot of attraction for the donor to really support the project. If we have a very long name of the proposal, it makes our life really miserable during implementing the project, because we will repeat mentioning it, we will repeat writing it on all the projects, all the minutes of meetings, and the donor will not be very interested to support. So the cover of the project document, or let's say the project name now, okay. The project name should be very attractive. The good proposal cover, if we talk about the cover page, we should design a good cover, and also we should include very smart information. What I mean by smart information is that the name of the project should be clear, the date of the project submission, when did we send it by email or submitted it in the system, should be clear. The name of the organization applying for the funding, and then the name of the donor, the proposed implementation time. So when it starts, let's say the 1st of January 2023 till the 31st of December 2023. So we should talk about when it starts and when it ends. Then if we talk about the good project name, it should be consistent. What I mean consistent is that if our project is on health, then the objective of this project should be very close to the name of the project. The project scope of work. So for example, if I am building, if I am preparing a project on art or heritage, I should mention something related to art and heritage in the name of the proposal. So consistent and mentions the sector. It would be better to mention the sector. Some donors prefer to mention the country or the area. It should be brief. The more it's brief and summarized would be much better. It doesn't should be less than 9 words. If it's more, I think it's a really bad name. And then it could contain 1 paragraph, or it contain 2 paragraphs. It could contain 1 sentence or 2 sentences. So the first sentence could be like very short, 2 bullet points like this, and then we have the second part of the sentence. I will show you an example for this. Why it's important? Because it gives a first impression. It could bring the donor's attention. Now let's see this. We have these 5 examples. For example, we have Integrated Emergency Response Project in Burundi, IERP. This is very much well-known project. Integrated Emergency Response Projects. Integrated Emergency Response Project means that it has more than 1 sector. It could be health, nutrition, wash, food security, education, like could be many components in 1 project. So it's named integrated. And then they mentioned the country in Burundi. This is implemented by World Vision in Burundi. This is another project. It's called Yemen at a Crossroads. So and this is like separated by these bullet points. I don't know what the name of in English of these
columns.
Huh?
The columns.
Okay. Okay. A semicolon, right?
No, the columns. The semicolons, they are like
okay.
a comma plus.
I forgot about them now. So sorry for that. Yeah. So
right.
we have the first part of the name, and then we do this columns, and the last part of the name. So for example, when you read this, the Yemen at a Crossroads, it brings your attention, but still we don't know what do you want to talk about. Then we explain enhance good governance in Yemen. So we know now that this project is to improve the good governance. So we will work with local authorities, national authorities. Mostly we will talk about the plans of the government and the participation of the people in this planning. So it's very clear from the name. This was implemented by Oxfam GB and funded by Swedish International Development Agency in Yemen. And this project, the third one is I Miss My School campaign, implemented by NFDHR with support from UNICEF. It's very clear that they talk about I Miss My School, so they talk about education. Very clear. Rainbow of Hope project, implemented by Search for Common Ground in Lebanon, funding from US Embassy in Beirut. When you read about Rainbow of Hope, it's not very clear, although the name is good, but it's not very clear. It could be like explaining about tolerance, peace building, could be about peace building or governance. I'm not really sure, but that's why when you bring a good name, it should be very clear. The sector should be very clear in the name. This is another project called Education is Light project. When you translate it in English, it's nice. مشروع العلم نور, really nice. Implemented by a consortium, a group of NGOs, CARE, the lead agency, Save the Children, ADRA, and VU Amsterdam, and Somalia. So it's very clear. The name is Education, and you could understand the name of the project very clear. Yes, Bandar.
Does that mean that one project can be funded by multi-donors?
It could be by multi-donors or one project implemented by many NGOs.
Okay, so it's okay to develop a project and look for more than a donor and share each donor responsibility or what we are expecting from them.
Yes, they like to contribute together. There are many donors who like, there is what is called Eid match. So they could match the funding in one project. They like it. Also, like there are many international NGOs or could be NGOs. They can come in as a consortium in one project. So you take the strength of each NGO and put it in the project. For example, I was working in one project like this, exactly the same name, but it was implemented in Yemen. It was funded by UK8 or DFID, Department of International Development. Now FCDO, the name has changed of this agency. And but it was the same name, Integrated Emergency Response Project. And this was implemented by Oxfam, ADRA, CARE, Save the Children, and Islamic Relief. So, for example, Oxfam was very strong in water, sanitation, hygiene, and livelihoods. So they take this sector. And they selected the districts they are strong and they have the capacity to work in. CARE International, they implemented education and protection in Amran, for example. While Oxfam they worked on Harad and Al Hudayda. As Save the Children, they implemented the nutrition part in Hajjah and Al Hudayda. Islamic Relief, they took some livelihoods in Al Hudayda. ADRA, they took the health projects in Al Hudayda. So it was integrated by many NGOs and implemented the same project. Everyone shared like his or their own strength in the project.
So how can we take this into consideration while preparing the proposal? I mean, are we assuming that they will be participating?
No. There is a huge coordination and they sign agreement as one consortium before they apply.
So we should look for similar consortium and exactly. Look for and apply accordingly.
Exactly. So, for example, there was a funding in the EU, the European Commission, during the last few months. And this funding there was a huge competition. So, for example, Safer World International NGO, they had Resonate and another local NGOs as partners, as consortium and applied. There was another consortium competing for the same funding from 3 NGOs, Yemen Family Care Association, NFDHR, and YLDF. They competed the same as consortium. And there was another consortium by Save the Children. So they all competing as consortiums.
So how can we find or find this type of consortium?
You start talking to the executive directors of these NGOs and programs managers or head of programs that you are interested to be part of these consortiums. If there is a good funding, you could encourage them to come into a consortium and sign an agreement. Then they decide who are the best ones to meet and start develop the proposal together and apply. So
okay,
usually,
thank you.
So usually there should be discussions and agreements before even starting developing the proposal.
So this should be arranged before.
Consortium, yeah, arranged, and there should be a very official document between you, because it will be part of the submission, or the donor will not consider this.
Okay. And so this also applied with government sector.
Usually the government, sometimes we sign like memorandum of understanding, but they cannot take direct funding from the donors. So they could be just like supporting us that, yes, we coordinated with the government, so we can implement it.
So my understanding that if I have 2 to 3, let's say, organizations or NGOs,
yes,
looking for funds, we can find a project which serve, for example, as we provide financial and non-financial services, and we try to empower, let's say, in the health sector, maybe because some let's say bank or medicine bank in Yemen, we are looking for example, not to depend. I mean, these patients does not continue depending on receiving just aids, I mean, of medicine. So why we don't empower them and make sure that they can rely on themselves and create some income or sources of income to create jobs and so on. So this could be also implemented, yeah?
Yes, but when you select the consortium members, you should have a justification why exactly these members are the best ones to work with.
Okay.
Because you prove to the donor that this consortium is the best for you as a donor also to work with. So I will give you an example. There was a new funding opportunity from UK government. and the funding was 80 million pounds. So it's very huge project. So there was a lot of consortiums competing. They selected NFDHR as part of the consortium because we were very strong in Marib area. So they wanted to implement part in Marib. So the search for the best NGO in Marib, they selected us as part of the consortium. So they had a justification why we were part of the consortium. And unfortunately, we didn't win. So the proposal didn't win. There was another consortium who received the funding. But still, the consortiums is one of the best way to get funding for the NGOs.
Is there any kind of minimum number of participants in consortiums, or?
No minimum, but it could be 2, 3, like 6, but no more, because the more you bring members in the consortium, the more you can prove that you can manage the consortium.
Okay, and who will take the lead, for example, if we have more than consortiums, who will take the lead, for example, and I mean,
it is decided. For example, this project number 2, I was the project manager in Oxfam. Number 2, I was the project manager, but when we applied, the donor was interested to have a consortium. So I was like, as Oxfam Great Britain, we were the lead. So we agreed with Oxfam Netherlands. Their name is Oxfam Nova. And we had Progressio, UK-based organization. So the three of us had a consortium, but the leadership was for Oxfam GB. So we agreed together, we developed a proposal together, we agreed how much funding is for each partner, and the leadership is also mentioned that it's Oxfam Great Britain, and then the consortium should be managed by me because I am the project manager and the program manager. So I should be the consortium manager too. That's the idea. So it's like an agreement that happens during the development of the proposal. Okay. So hopefully we answered these questions. They are important, so it's okay to discuss with everyone.
Can I ask
any
a
more
question, please?
Yeah, any more questions?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Now, isn't it harder to work, I mean, on a project that is funded by more than one donor, because obligations will be, I mean, every donor will have certain obligations, so it will be a little bit harder to manage. I mean, it will be easier if we implement a project for one.
Yeah, consortiums could be difficult to manage, but if we prove that if we bring these exact partners, bringing them together will make the project even more efficient. The results will be better with everyone, not less. So, for example, when the donor has a lot of funding and it needs to make sure that there is many NGOs with good capacity, they come together working on the same project, they like it. Consortiums usually is something the donors like it a lot.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you speak about not consortium of NGOs, but multiple donors, if I want to apply for one project for multiple donors, let me say 2 or 3, I divide it by parts. This part I want from these donors, this part I want from this donor. How do I know that 2 of them will approve it? For example, what should I do if one donor approve my proposal, but the second donor reject it? So I have only one part covered.
Yes, so usually it's good to bring more NGOs to apply for one donor than bringing one project for many donors. This is difficult. but usually, how can we do it? If the funding is not very competitive. Yeah, like for example, I would go to the GIZ. GIZ, I want to implement this project. It costs $300,000. Are you interested to? I have already one partner or one donor that will fund, let's say 200,000. Still, I need 100. Are you able to support me in this? So it's like a kind of negotiation without competitions. So I go to do meeting with this, I go to do meeting with that, and then we go like many discussions, many reviews. They should both approve the same project. So it takes time and not guaranteed. But usually the donor like to support a project with many people coming into a consortium.
Okay, so basically, if I get grant to cover one part, manually then I search people to cover another part.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the best way. But at the same time, you will never be able to guarantee funding at the same time. Okay. So is it enough now? Like the names we have for now? I will give you an exercise. Let me give you exercise. Sorry, I will keep sharing, but so I can write the results. So here we can duplicate, and then as agreed before, what is the name of your project? So let's say if any one of you has already has an idea about the project you have. Olga, you are writing on wildlife. What's the project you think about?
Yes, I'm thinking now about a threat nurture return project in Oman.
What's the name?
I will type it in the chat.
Yes, write in the chat and I will add it here. Okay. Irina, do you have a project in mind for the health sector? Like, what's the name of a project?
Yes, of course. We have several variants because we cooperate with medical institutions, and they have needs, and also we take care about people who live with HIV, because our organization works as HIV services organization.
Great.
That's why our clients, as our future winter maybe will be hard, and our clients have specific needs. That's why we thought about their warming, safety, and so on.
So what's the name of the project if we have a name?
We need to sort with Lena about the name of the project, because we didn't manage to get it yet.
Okay. So think about it. You have time.
Okay.
Okay. Ibrahim, Basma, Safa, Aisha, anyone, Ghadir?
I do.
I
do have a name.
Yes.
So it's My Heritage.
My Heritage. Okay.
This is the name.
That's it.
The name, yes.
Okay. It could be. See here. It could be like the first phrase that you will use it for promotion, but then you need to do more clarification. What do you want?
Okay, it's like a project name, and then I have like section for each subject.
Yeah. What do you want to do? So is this why do you want to do the project? For, let's say, for preserving the heritage, or what? Can you mention an objective, something in mind?
Just give me 1 second.
We will come back to Basma. So who else is ready to give me the name of the project?
From my side, Doctor.
Yes.
Okay. The name will be Hunger Suffering Reduction. HSR.
Suffering Reduction.
Suffering Reduction. Yes.
Reduction.
This is correct.
If the reduction could be the first, would be much better.
Okay, it's fine. You can change.
But think about it. No, I was just I was just thinking. So I will not change it as long as you think about it. Okay.
I think you understand my idea.
Yeah, reduce.
That's why.
Reduce hunger, suffering, and it still needs more clarification. Because now, like hunger, yeah, it means food security or livelihoods, but still
Yes.
maybe you could decide where or what, or throw this or buy that. More clarification. Do you have a district in mind you want to work in?
To achieve, for example, reduce hunger, suffering, to reduce the risk of famine.
Yeah, but I mean, hunger, suffering, and famine is the same. So you could add in Al Hudaydah or in let's say
yes, in Tehama area.
Tehama is very big. It's better to decide where exactly.
Okay, Hudaydah.
And Al Hudaydah, let's see. Hudaydah. So it's very clear now. Okay. Basma, if you think about it, who else? Who else?
I already sent you a topic through the chat.
Okay. Okay, back to school, project to support.
Since data has been taken, we can change the place. We can say Marib Al Wadi.
So you change, and then I will copy paste.
Okay.
Training and rehabilitation. Okay, this is Ghadir, training and rehabilitation of people with disabilities on physical therapy sessions. Okay, this is Ghadir. Ghadir, do you want to develop a proposal for this, or you have another one?
No.
I need you to write the name of the proposal that you will develop. Okay, Olga, trap new return project for street cats and okay. Interesting. I've never been like I have never seen a proposal for wildlife before, so I'm interested in this. Jeez, okay. Ghadir, is this the project you want to develop, or you just give me a name of any project?
Yes, this project. So develop.
Of project disabilities and okay. Who else? Safa, do you have a name of a project in mind?
Project will be ICU for saving lives in Yemen.
What is it?
ICU for saving life in Yemen.
ICU for saving lives in
Yemen. Okay. It should be like a, you know, the ICU rooms for developing them and qualify the people who work in there, doctors.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like intensive care units. Okay. Okay, let's see. Bandar.
Yes, I will need help on this because I mean, as our the bank activity, we are looking for example, microfinancing or providing access for farmers, but taking into consideration the green financing, we are looking for maybe farmer green microfinance empowerment, or I'm not sure.
Okay, let me just write it. Farmer micro finance empowerment.
But it's supposed to be green, so maybe green microfinance, or I'm not sure.
Green micro. Okay. Green microfinance empowerment.
Yes, this is to make sure that we help by providing clean energy, such as solar, such as different you know, intervention.
Yeah, so it's targeting farmers. Okay. Or maybe we could see for green microfinance empowerment of farmers. But okay, now is good. So I should write your names here so I remember whose projects. Okay. Basma, you need to add.
Still thinking.
My heritage, let's see, we see my heritage. I don't want to interfere, but I could just help.
My identity, my heritage, my identity, my heritage, my stories.
Heritage. Like let's say my identity is good, or we could say, let's say my heritage and inspiring, or let's say inspiring young generations in Yemen to preserve heritage. Let's say it's just like that.
Okay.
Preserve.
Can we say, for example, access to green microfinance?
Okay.
Because I'm saying farmer, yeah.
Yes.
For example, access to green microfinance.
Access to green microfinance empowerment for farmers or of farmers.
Okay.
Because it's clear, and like when I read it, I know exactly what you want to do. Safa, because I know what is ICU, I understand, but maybe some others, they need not abbreviation, they might need intensive care unit for saving lives in Yemen. Okay, trap neuter return project for street cats, because it's like street cats, it became really clear, although we don't know what it means here, because we are not really understanding this. Okay, Ghadir is very clear. Ibrahim now is very clear. Who else? I think Abdullah got busy. So, Irina, did you think about the name of a project?
Yes, we wrote it in chat.
Okay, okay. Huda, I read it now, but if you could empower.
I have some number of them actually.
I can repeat it.
Yes. Okay. For Irina, let me copy paste. Warm winter for children with HIV and Odisha. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay. Okay, very clear. Huda, just to widen, this is not clear. So maybe we can see empower.
To improve.
Improve, okay. Improve women's livelihood sources, okay.
Yes.
Improve women livelihood resources in TAS government. In TAS, we don't need to see government rate. Good, 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 good.
There is another one about back to school. We sent it.
Yes, but we need to decide one that we will develop during this training.
No, it's not for development in the training. It's just
No,
an example.
No. We need one that you will develop with us during this training. Yeah. So now we are starting the first step, although it's a baby step, but we will go for that. Okay, so we decided, just wanted to confirm, do we have anyone who didn't share the name of the project? I think Abdullah, because he sent me a message that he got to attend a meeting. That's fine. Okay, so now we decided this, just writing here Irina and her colleague, Irina, and this is good.
Can there be a way, a step back, please?
Yeah, you can change if you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Because actually, guys, I can't. Difficult to
Yeah,
access.
you can change the area. Yeah, you can change the area. Let's say in Sana'a.
Okay, please leave it until tomorrow. It's just for an example.
You can change it. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
So now we decided the names. I think, yeah, they are good names so far. I feel like if I am a donor, I want to support all of them. Although we didn't read anything about it. Okay. Now the executive summary. Usually the executive summary of the project is usually after the cover of the project, but we don't write it from the beginning. We write it at the end. We write it at the end, but usually we summarize the problem in one sentence, and then like summary for the problem. Then we mention that in order to solve this project, we mention the objective. Then we summarize the solutions, the activities. We summarize them in short paragraph. That's the executive summary. We will visit this slide at the end of this training. So we will not give an example now. Let's go for situation analysis. Today, this is the last part of today. We will talk about the situation analysis. And for the situation analysis, okay. For the situation analysis, this is the last part of today's training. We will make it as short as possible. I know you are already tired, but just keep in mind now we are in the first step in writing proposals. So usually, just before I go for situation analysis, usually there is what is called the project background. The project background could be many parts. So usually when you read the project background, some donors, they ask for the project background paragraph. The background is the situation analysis, the need assessment and problem statement or problem analysis, and the grant request justification. They could be 3 things in one paragraph. But here in the training, we will divide them as a single paragraphs, because some donors, they ask for situation analysis, some they ask for context analysis, some they ask for problem analysis. But now we talk about context analysis or situation analysis. Okay. The good thing in the situation analysis is that you don't need to collect the data for situation analysis yourself. So usually you just go for resources. You read the reports of like even your reports as NGO, or the reports of UN agencies like UNICEF, UNHCR, UNDP. Maybe you could use the reports of the Ministry of, let's say, Health or Education or whatever. And then from these reports, you collect together a small paragraph. So how can you collect like the data in the situation analysis? Usually it should be at the country level. So you start to talk about the problem at the country level. After that, you need to, as I mentioned, from reliable resources. So it's better to bring, like, for example, information from the Human Development Index of UNDP, or you could like some periodic or regular reports issued by UN agencies, like UNICEF, WHO, UNHCR, and so on. Then we outline the things that affect people's lives in the whole country. So we will start by Ukraine has been going under, let's say, a war since February 2022. And then we talk about this war between Russia and Ukraine. We don't need to explain to the donor why the war is started, but we tell them that this war has led to suffering of how many people become refugees, how many people are internally displaced, how many people are suffering within Ukraine in the targeted areas. So we keep talking about the country, then we start to talk about the sector. If our project is health, for example, the project that Irina is going to develop, then we talk about people are suffering from health, difficulty to access to health services because many health facilities have been bombed and or shelled by airstrikes. Many doctors left the countries or they are joining the war as fighters sometimes, or they are just working as medical services for the front lines, supporting the military, so leaving the people without access to quality health services. You talk about the sector, and then you mentioned the targeted area. For example, if you are going to work on Odisha, you talk about Odisha, but you don't go on details about the difficulty to access health services in Odisha, because this is not in the situation analysis, it will be in the need assessment. Because for now, it's just from the reports that was mentioned by others. Once you go to talk about Odisha, you should bring information that is maybe collected by you. So you call the let's say the director of medical services in Odisha. You ask what kind of services that need support. Do you need medical equipment, or you need to like temporary places for health service? So you start collect information. Do the health staff needs salaries or incentives? You talk about it. Okay, so now we talk about here the special challenges in the sector and so on. I will give you an example for this. Like this was one of the situation analysis we write in one project. Sorry, I was not extending the slides, so I will extend it now. So, for example, we started the situation analysis like this. The conflict in Yemen has greatly affected education across the country. Almost the entire population is in need to humanitarian assistance. The conflict has internally displaced more than 1 million. And then undermined access to ports, airports. People are without payments for 5 years, according to the Ministry of Education. So now we take this information from Ministry of Education that, of course, this situation analysis was done in 2018. That's why we talked about this date. So we mentioned the 2017-2018 school year began with delays in 7 to 14 government rates in the country due to the non-payment of teachers' salaries and so on. So this is just an example. I'm sure everyone can do this situation analysis without support, because we just collect it from the other reports and we rephrase it and we do the necessary changes. It will be ready. So I will stop. Yes.
What is the situation if no previous report on the topic were made?
Yeah, if this will be in the second part. Usually, if you don't have this, then usually we call the resources secondary data. But usually the donor like the primary data that we collect ourselves.
But it should not be mentioned here. It will be mentioned in the next paragraph, right?
Yeah. Here we just took general. Like we for sure we will find some reports even from different countries. We find like we could collect any information, or we could bring we make them one paragraph.
But if this information is collected by myself, not using
that's the needs assessment. Yeah, that's the need assessment. So
here I do not mention it. If I do not have information from other sources, I just keep it. I give it in general, but I do not give these numbers. I do not give.
Yeah, the numbers will be in the need assessment. Yeah, if the donor asks for need assessment, keep it for the need assessment.
Okay.
Because in the need assessment, you will talk about the exact area, the exact town. The information should be very like you collected them by phone, or you go for, like you went yourself, you met some people, you know exactly what you are talking about in figures and in names and in everything.
Yeah, because I believe no one calculated the number of street cats in Jordan.
Just a forecast.
Yeah.
You could just like bring a very very, let's say, the best number that you could bring. That's it. But don't say 1,000 cats, because they will say, how did you know that it's 1,000?
So I can make some calculations. I can address, for example, vet clinics to get from them reports how many street cats are received, but it will be already my calculation. It will not be something from, that's why I'm asking.
Exactly. So it could be like 931. That's like very, like it shows that there is a huge efforts done to bring the number. Okay. So what we will do now, we will have an assignment. I will send you the presentations of today. You will start. You already decided the name of the project. Okay. You already decided that. You could change the name of your project if you want. You will have to work your develop your context analysis of the project. Please do it today, because tomorrow you will work on different thing. And by the way, please don't be absent tomorrow, especially like the beginning. Like tomorrow is the most important part of the proposal writing. Okay. So you do this for your project, the situation analysis, and then we need to activate your account on Portal 365. If you already registered in Portal, then please tell us your email so we can activate. We can make it premium for 1 year for free, like as part of the training. Okay, so we deal. I mean, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Let me share with you the presentation here. The last two presentations. Okay, to everyone in the meeting. Okay. This is a project by Aisha. Aisha, do you want to write this proposal?
I'll try. It is okay.
Yes. Okay. So I will put it as one of the proposals with the name. Okay, Aisha. Excellent. Okay. So now I will share with you the presentations. If you are able to receive it here in the chat, would be much easy, and then we could send them by email too. So let's try this. Session number 0. I did that, the introductory, and then session number 1. Let's say if it open. Okay, let's save. Session number. Who has received the session numbers like the introduction? Because I could send it again. Okay. Okay. So let me share the.
Do you mean the presentation in chat?
Yeah. Let me try the first presentation if it goes. Okay. This is number 0. Now is under sharing. I will go for number 1. Okay. Please make sure you receive it.
And I received session 0 and session 1, I guess.
Okay, still number 2 now. I will just correct the name of the file. November 7, 2022. Okay, I think now is good. I need to close the file. Cancel. Okay. Where is the session 2? Okay, this one. Save. Okay.
It's 01, Jane.
Yes, it's the same.
01, huh?
Yeah, it's the same. You already sent it.
Okay. 01 now, 02. I changed just the name, so now is ready. Perfect. So what we will do tomorrow, we will work together, at least on one proposal. I do it together with you. We discuss, then we do the situation analysis using tools we developed. It will be very easy to develop proposal after that. If you attended tomorrow session, really important, because it helps you to develop a very clear theory of change. It will help you to develop a very clear logical framework. Tomorrow at 10, we will all be together. Okay, so this is a task. We activate your accounts in portal. You search for the best donor, so you start develop the proposal and make sure that you submit this proposal for this donor. So
Okay.
also search for a potential donor, a real donor. It's not just like we are like develop a proposal and then for learning. No, it would be a real proposal. Just to give you an idea, in many trainings, we develop proposals and they are funded. So some participants, they succeed to get the funding.
Interesting.
If I get funded, I promise you I'll buy all the books.
You buy the books.
Yeah, so just
Should we make for tomorrow situation analysis? Should we prepare it? Or not yet?
The situation analysis, you will write it at home. So I just showed
Before
you an
tomorrow.
example. Tomorrow you will be ready with that. You will show
Yeah,
me.
so today.
You will present them. I will see them before we start moving to the needs assessment. Tomorrow is the most important part. So let's say all what we did today is just like an introduction. We are not really there. I will not take more of your time. Thank you so much for devoting this time. Happy to be with you. I feel tired because I'm used to talk in Arabic, not in English, for a long time. So now I feel tired by talking in English. Sorry if there are like any grammar mistakes, any language barriers. That is, we are all suffering from the language barrier. But sometimes as a trainer, you should be like the perfect speaker, but I'm not in English. Sorry for that. So bear in mind that I'm not really good English speaker, but I'll be trying my best to give you the best information I could. Thank you so much.
Actually, the best explanations come from speakers, English speakers,
exactly.
I guess.
Exactly.
We
Okay,
use the
so
language just to get the message across. That's it. So once the message is there, thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. I'll be happy to see you tomorrow at 10.
We are already eager for the session from now.
Okay. Thank you and have a good evening.
Have a good time. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn profile. I'm waiting for the connections. The connecting. Yeah, the connections from those who will develop their or start their profiles.
Yes, of course. We'll do it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Stay safe. Bye.
Spasiba, everyone.